CoreWeave. CoreWeave has been a very interesting stock recently. Today, it's sitting at $78. Now, on Tuesday, I had sold call options. It actually went up quite a bit, about $90. I sold call options, but deep in the money call options. And maybe if you guys are astute options traders and you saw the video on me talking about making $2,000 selling call options on my CoreWeave holdings. So the title was renting out my stocks and collecting payment upfront, which I did. Sold it on Tuesday. It expired today, and I captured the full $2,000 plus premium, which is great. However, the stock itself dropped $90 down to $78. So my rent turned out to be downside protection. I was hoping to be called out and just be out of the position. And that way I could just start a new position selling puts. But that's okay because that turned out to be downside protection, which lowered my average buy-in price. And so you might be wondering, why did I do this? And so that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. CoreWeave recently diluted its shares, and based on my experience, whenever a company tries to raise more cash by diluting their shares, creating more shares to sell to the public, that usually brings down the stock price. But I still like CoreWeave. And here's the reason why. I'm going to show you a chart, and I want you to tell me, what do you see on the chart? Here's a daily view of CoreWeave. We're looking at the CoreWeave chart, and you can see we're looking at the daily view. And if I expand that a little bit wider, what do you see? I see gaps. I see a gap up here at about 103, and then another gap up here at 126. And I also put the RSI indicator. This is an indicator that tells you if the stock is overbought, oversold. If it's up here, it's overbought. Down here, it's oversold. And we're sitting at about 40. So not quite oversold, but it is under 50 at the more on the lower end of being oversold. And you can see on Tuesday, right here, the stock was about 90. I sold my call options at 85 strike price. So anything under 85 means I keep the full premium that they paid me out. And then the rest of it just becomes downside protection. And the stock is currently sitting at $78. Now, I'm going to tell you why I did what I did, selling deep in the money call options. On my Threads account, I had posted this. All right. I don't think we got that back test off trendline support on NASDAQ to confirm a trend reversal. And generally, what that means is you could see that I had drawn a down trending line. So NASDAQ was trending down until it broke above the trend line, and then it just kept running up. Now, generally, investors, traders want a back test to confirm that it reversed the downward trend. And if it comes back down and back test it as support and it launches off of it, then that means we can draw an upward trend line, not a downward trend line. But so far, we still have a downward trend line. And you could see that I had put minus 5%. So I'm thinking to backtest that, roughly about a 5% drop. I show you this because whenever you're doing any individual trades, I always like to look at the macro, right? So I look at the macro, seeing the broader markets. You could use the SPX, the S&P 500. You can use NASDAQ 100. I generally like to use both, but depending on your stock and If it's part of S&P 500, then you can use that. Just look at which index it belongs in. And so for me, I was expecting a drop in the broader markets. A lot of times we get caught up just trading individual stocks, but remember, it's part of a bigger market context. And so I like to just remind myself that when the market is up, it floats all the individual boats in the market. But when the market sinks, it will pull the boats down as well. And it doesn't really matter if the company is top of the line, right? When the market goes down, it's going to pull the boats down as well. And so that's something that I have to remind myself a lot of times, but that's part of my checklist to do whenever I do trading for individual stocks. So what do we do moving forward? Well, I'm going to wait for this backtest support. And if it bounces off, and that gives me the trend reversal confirmation, then I can take this line off and draw an uptrending line. And from there, that's going to give me a little bit more confidence assurance that we're in an uptrend, and that's a green light to start buying more into core position holdings that I like, Microsoft, Nvidia, and a bunch of other companies. But for now, I'm just waiting to see that confirmation, and patience pays off. And as the prices go down, then I have a bigger smile. I just can't wait to put my money that I set aside. Remember, 20% of that, the money that you have, for me, I put 20% aside, 20 to 25% ready to pull the trigger when the market is giving deeper discount prices. That's it. That's all I have for you. It was great to have you on today's video, and I will see you in the next one.